Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I welcome all my students of second year MBBS and BDS to today's fifth lecture on endocrinology. Today we are going to get the idea about the pituitary gland. Now, as you all know, the endocrinology is a study of hormones, receptors, their intracellular signaling pathways, the diseases and the conditions which are involved with these hormones. And we have got up till now the idea of what are these endocrinal glands. You can see that on the top there is presence of hypothalamus, pituitary gland, pineal gland, and parathyroid glands, thymus gland, and in addition to that, there is presence of adrenal glands, the pancreas. Then we do have the other ones. So we are going to study them in detail, one after the other. And today we are going to start with that of the pituitary gland. Now, see, this is how it looked like. And it has two lobes, that there is presence of anterior pituitary lobe, posterior pituitary lobe, and they're being separated by that of pars intermedia, that is a connective tissue. It has been given the name of hypophysis as well, and is a small gland about 1 centimeter in diameter, lying over there in the sella turcica, bony cavity at the base of the brain, and is connected to the hypothalamus by the pituitary stalk. See, as it is lying below the hypothalamus, the word hypophysis has been given to it. So, see, composing of two different type of tissues, both the anterior and the posterior ones. Anterior is actually epithelioid type, whereas the posterior is more of a neural type. Now, the physiological divisions, they include the anterior pituitary adenohypophysis originating from Rathke's pouch embryologically. The posterior pituitary, that is the neurohypophysis, originating from hypothalamus, and between them there is a relatively avascular area given the name of pars intermedia. Now, embryologically, the two portions, they are originating from different sources. Anterior one, that is originating from the Rathke's pouch, which is actually an embryonic invagination of the pharyngeal epithelium. So the nature is that of epithelioid type. Posterior pituitary from the neural tissue, and it outgrow from the hypothalamus. So the large numbers of glial type cells, they are present in this part of the gland. See how there is invagination from that of the pharyngeal pouch, leading to formation of this anterior pituitary um, during embryonic life. See how they're going to join to give rise to formation of pituitary gland. See, there is downward invagination from the brain area and the upward invagination towards the to form the anterior lobe. See the difference in the type of cells, the anterior pituitary containing different cell types, and each cell type is synthesizing the different hormone, whereas presence of different type of cells having different granules, having different hormone production. Now, anterior pituitary lobe is going to produce different type of hormones. The first one is the growth hormone. Now, just this is the introduction, and we are going to learn each and every hormone in detail later on. Now, the growth hormone promotes the growth of entire body by affecting the protein formation. There is cell multiplication, there is cell differentiation. Then there is corticotropin controlling the secretion of some of the adrenocortical hormones, affecting the metabolism of glucose, proteins, and fats. Thyroid stimulating hormone, controlling the rate of secretion of thyroxine and triiodothyronine by the thyroid gland, and these hormones control the rates of most intracellular chemical reactions in the body. Prolactin promotes mammary gland development and milk production. Two separate gonadotropic hormones, follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, controlling the growth of ovaries and testes as well, their hormonal and reproductive activities. Posterior lobe. Now, the posterior lobe produces no hormones of its own. It is having the function of storage and release of hormones which are being formed over there in the magnocellular neurons of supraorbital and paraventricular nuclei of hypothalamus. So, the hormones they are antidiuretic hormone, oxytocin. Antidiuretic hormone, vasopressin, is going to control the rate of water excretion from the urine, thus helping to control the concentration of water in the body fluids. Oxytocin helps to express milk from the glands of the breast to the nipples during suckling and possibly helps in the delivery of the baby at the end of gestation. Cell types in the anterior pituitary gland, somatotrophs 30 to 40% acidophils, human growth hormone, corticotropes 20%, ACTH, thyrotropes 3 to 5%, releasing thyroid stimulating hormone, gonadotropes releasing 3 to 5%, releasing gonadotropic hormones, including luteinizing and follicle stimulating hormone, and the lectotropes are secreting the hormone prolactin. So most of the cells they are releasing the growth hormone. They are actually somatotrophs releasing which are acidophilic. Now, how to learn them? We can learn it by these are all the hormones which are being released from anterior pituitary. Hormones is most frequently asked question in the vivas, and you should all be knowing about it. That is the melanin stimulating hormone, um, large protein precursor, also going to make ACTH, then growth hormone, adrenocorticotropic hormone, prolactin, thyroid stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, FSH. Then C, how it is going to affect. You should all be knowing about this, that how this queen of all the endocrine glands, the anterior pituitary gland, is controlling all the endocrine glands below, most of the endocrine glands below. See how they are going to release the thyroid hormones, going to stimulate thyroid hormone, going to stimulate the ovary, adrenal cortex, mammary gland, the pancreas, how they are going to affect. The pars intermedia is absent from the adult human pituitary but is present in other animals and the human fetus. In other species, it secretes a melanocyte stimulating hormone which influences the pigmentation of the skin, the hair, the feathers, humans. However, apparently they produce no circulating melanin secreting stimulating hormone. Some anterior pituitary cells derived from pars intermedia, they do produce pro-opiomelanocortin. Pro-opiomelanocortin is not secreted but is processed within the pituitary to yield the smaller fragments like endorphins, ACTH. Now, when we are learning about this pituitary gland, we should be knowing about the hypothalamus as well, because hypothalamus is the king of all the pituitary of all the endocrine glands. I mean, because see that hypothalamus is controlling the release as well as the inhibition of the hormones from the pituitary gland. Secretion by the anterior pituitary is being controlled by the hormones, which are the releasing factors or releasing hormones or inhibitory factors or inhibitory hormones secreted from within the hypothalamus and is conducted to the anterior pituitary through minute blood vessels called the hypothalamic hypophyseal portal vessels. Now, whenever the word portal has been used, it means that there is presence of two level of circulations, right? It is not a single side of blood vessels. It is actually more, you can see, hyperemic and is having the double flow of blood there. In the anterior pituitary, these releasing and inhibitory hormones, they act on the glandular cells to control their secretion. Hypothalamic thalamus new control. Secretion from posterior pituitary is controlled by nerve fibers originating in the hypothalamus. The supraoptic nuclei they form antidiuretic hormones. The paraventricular nuclei form the oxytocin and terminate in the posterior pituitary gland and are being transported by the help of carrier proteins known as the neurophycins, so are transported from supraoptic and paraventricular nuclei to terminal nerve endings in posterior pituitary gland. So, what is this hypothalamic hypophyseal portal system? We are going to learn in detail in the next lecture. But up till now, you should be knowing about that there is uh, this portal system composed of capillaries in the lower part of hypothalamus and as well as they are going to enter the anterior pituitary sinuses known as the word hypothalamic hypophyseal portal system. Now the role is that it carries the hypothalamic releasing and inhibitory hormones or factors to anterior pituitary gland from lowermost portion of the hypothalamus. So this is how the hypothalamus is having the full control over there to that of the pituitary gland. See, this diagram is so very much important. This diagram is showing us the full control mechanism, the full control system, that how the hormone releasing factors or hormones and hormone inhibitory hormones or factors they're being released from the hypothalamus, and by the help of hypothalamo hypophyseal portal system it is reaching the anterior pituitary lobe of pituitary gland from where the different hormones they are being released and which are indirectly controlling the all the different endocrine glands below them. So this diagram is very important. It is self-explanatory. We should all be learning it. Now, the hypothalamus is regulating the secretion of hormones, almost always controlled by a negative feedback loop. The blood concentration declines below a minimum and the more hormone is secreted. Blood concentration exceeds maximum, hormone is halted. Secreted like neurotransmitters from axon terminal, secrete releasing factors to release hormones, can also secrete inhibitory hormones to turn off secretion of hormones. See, this diagram is a must for all of you to learn, and we are going to study in detail in the next lecture. So up till then, Allah Hafiz, stay blessed.